Or the second way is what I'm saying is partnering with somebody that has money, right? And trying to find somebody that has money. I have somebody now, like I have a student in my mastermind that went out and found a deal that's worth like $1.5 million, and is getting an SBA loan. It's a mismanaged property, but it's also producing enough income that SBA will lend on it. They won't lend like way over and above, right? Because the way SBA or any bank loan works is like, okay, how much money are you making? How much money is it making? It's producing how much income. And this is how it works in the commercial real estate world, right? Is that how much money is that property making? All right. And then the loan that you get is based on that income. Okay. And so what happens is if it's a mismanaged property, and let's say it's like 50 to 75% full, then it goes into kind of like this middle bracket. Like 50% or less would probably be considered mismanaged. When it gets like 50 to 75%, it's kind of in this gray area. The question is, can you find a lender to lend on a property like that? Or, are you going to have to go and partner with somebody and find money that way? This property that my student has essentially is kind of in that gray area. So they pitched it to like a lender that works with SBA. And SBA is okay with lending on it, just as long as they can put 30% down. Okay. So he had to go out and raise 30%. And so 30% of like 1.5, whatever that is, $4,000, 400,000 or something. And so he had to go and raise that money. So he did raise the money, and he found like two people to bring like 200 grand each. Okay. And so, and he's not bringing any money to the table. Only thing that he's doing is bringing his expertise to the table. Okay. And so now he is partnering with these people. They've created an LLC, and that LLC is what's going to be purchasing the property. And so SBA is essentially lending the money to the LLC, and they're funding the money. They're funding the LLC, the money. All right. And so essentially he is partnering. It's a 25-75 split. So the lenders get 75 and he gets 25. And this is his very first deal. He's done no storage deals at all. And so he is now co-owner of a storage facility that is almost 300 units. It's worth, he's buying it for $1.5 million. It's a mismanaged facility. It's probably around 60% full. And in 2 years, that thing is going to be worth like over $3 million. And on top of that, it's on a 6-acre lot, and it's only taking up 3 acres right now. And so essentially, not only is he going to double the value of that property, he's owning a property that he has 25% ownership of. Yes, he gets 25% of ownership and revenue. And he brought no money to the table. And it's going to be worth over $3 million in the next couple of years. And he's going to be able to build more units on it to raise the value and increase it even more. And he did that with bringing nothing to the table at all. Those are the kinds of deals that my students are finding in my coaching program, Storage Nerds. It's good. And we talk about that all in the coaching program. All right. So if you're really interested in getting some mentoring, what he did is he brought that to the coaching program. We meet every other week. He was like, look, I got this deal. Like, let's come up with some offers. Let's do some stuff here, and then we just like creatively try to come up with a whole bunch of different ways to structure that, which is awesome. I love that so much. It's my most favorite thing about storage and real estate is really thinking outside the box in order to come up with money for deals. And I love seeing light bulbs going off in my students' eyes and head when they're like, I have never thought about that. That's awesome. And essentially what happens most of the time is when you come up with a deal like this and find this deal and you're just kind of like, I have no idea what to do now. And you bring it to the table and then we work it. We come up with 3 to 5 different offers. And then you go back and you pitch it to the owner. And then of course, like the offers that we offer, like they never really pan out, but something around all those offers is what you end up with, right? So it's like a starting point. But a lot of people, they just have no idea where to start and how to do offers like that, you know? So that's what the mastermind is for, okay? Now, we have another student right now in the mastermind, and like she just told us this last week that she was calling owners, and she came across an owner that wants to sell 350 units for $1.7 million. Now remember, the other one that we just did was like 280 units for $1.5 million. All right, so this is 350 units for 1.7, almost exactly the same deal. Almost exactly the same deal. Right? So that's what I had the meeting today with one of my lenders about. So I told him, I was like, I told the person I was talking to, I was like my student has like this deal, and we're trying to figure out like how to structure it and like how we can get the money for this. And she was like, I want to do that deal. I want to do that deal. Let's partner on that deal. And so essentially now we're in the works trying to figure out, like I just had that conversation today, but it's the almost exact same deal. Almost exact same deal, right? So the first guy, he went out, he was just calling owners, talking to owners, right? Trying to see if anybody wants to sell, found somebody that wants to sell, pitched, and then brought that deal to us after he got all the information. We need a lot of information from the owner in order to run deal analysis. Okay, so it's not like you can't just like guess on this stuff, right? Now I've been doing this for a while, so I kind of have a general idea, but like, you got to bring all the information that you need. So essentially when you're talking to an owner, you got to get the purchase price, the total square footage, the unit mix. You got to call all the competition, to look at the competition. You've got to look at the number of units, all their expenses, all your expenses, property tax, utilities, insurance. I mean, there's just so much for you to look at when you're running the deal analysis, right? So essentially they go out, they get all that information, bring it back, and then we run the numbers and try to come up with offers. And this is exactly where the second student is too. So I kind of pitched that idea to my lender, to my partner lender, essentially, and said, like, would you be interested in like partnering on something like this? And they were like, yes. I mean, who would say no to that, right? If you have the money to lend on something like that, where all you have to do is put $400,000 or $500,000 into a deal, and then later, in a couple of years, make $750,000 on it. Who would say no to that, right? Or make $1 million on it? Who would say no, right? Especially if you have that money. The question is, where do you find these lenders? Yeah. Where do you go out and find these lenders to do all this? Right? That's the question that everybody has. How do you find lenders to lend you money? Right? And the answer is really, you have to put yourself out there. If nobody knows about what you're doing, then nobody's ever going to want to lend to you, right? This is on the creative deal structuring side. This is not going to a bank and getting a loan, right? Totally different. This is, I want to use other people's money to fund my deals. This is private lending. This is partnering. This is syndication. This is crowdfunding. That's what this side is. This is not going to a bank and getting an SBA loan or a local, a community bank or something like that, right? It's two different sides. I mean, ultimately, if you think about it, right? If you think about it, syndication and crowdfunding, all that is just creative deal structuring. That's creative deal structuring. How creative can you get with raising money? And my coach told me when I started this program 10 years ago, I actually hired somebody to help me come up with my strategic plan for my company. That's when I first started getting into real estate investing. in 2010, 2011. Okay, so I've been doing this 10 years. And so I had a coach like to teach me how to do real estate investing, right? And how to do all the things real estate investing, but I didn't have anybody to really kind of like help me strategize. Like I was like, how do I grow this company? How do I scale this company? How to be smarter about my numbers? So I hired somebody like a strategic planning coach, essentially. And he changed my life forever. All right. What he did is I hired him, and then our very first meeting, right? He sat me down at his, at the table with him, and he was like, "All right, Stacy, let's get started." He's like, "Please tell me what you do." And I was like, "I'm a real estate investor." He's like, "No, you're not. You're not a real estate investor." I was like, "Yes, I invest in real estate. I buy property. I'm a wholesaler." He's like, "You're not a wholesaler." I was like, I'm a rehabber. I go out, I buy houses, I fix them up, and I sell them." He's like, "No, you're not a rehabber, Stacy. Tell me what you do." And I was like, "As a residential redevelopment? Like, I buy blocks of houses and I fix them up and make them look pretty. I'm redevelopment." He's like, "No, you're not a residential redeveloper." And I was like, "I'm not." He's like, "Would you like me to tell you what you do?" And I was like, "Yeah, can you please tell me what I do?" I was like, "Isn't that what I paid you for? Tell me what I do." And he's like, "Stacy," he's like, "the only way you're ever going to make it in this business," and he had nothing to do with real estate, nothing. He was a business coach, like a strategic business coach. So he was not an investor at all. All right. And I had just met him like a couple of weeks before and just hired him, so he had nothing, he had no really, idea of what I truly did, kind of, sort of, but not really. And I was like, "What do I do? Tell me, I need to know." He's like, "When I tell you what you do, I'm going to tell you that it's going to change your life." I was like, "Tell me, I'm ready. Tell me," and he's like, "And if you want to make it in this business, in the business of investing in real estate and all the different things that you're doing, is like, you have to understand this concept." And I was like, "Will you just tell me what the hell I'm doing here?" And he's like, "Stacy, you are not a real estate investor." I was like, "Okay, I get it." He's like, "You are a fundraiser. That's what you are. You're a fundraiser. And the only way you're ever going to make it in this business is if you learn how to raise money. That's it. That is it. It doesn't matter if you're flipping homes or you're doing commercial or residential or whatever you're doing. You have to learn how to raise money. It's all about money in this business. And right now, what I see is that you're focusing on like all the small tasks in your business. But if you learn how to raise money, it'll change your life, it'll change your business, and it'll change everything that you're doing. You have to learn how to raise money." And I mean, when he sat there and he told me that, and I was just I was like my students that I see in my coaching. I knew my eyes were just popping out of my head, and there was like this huge big light bulb above my head. And I was just thinking to myself, he's right. He's so right. He's like, all I'm doing is sitting here and trying to figure out how to run this business. He's like, I have to learn how to raise money. And I had already been raising money because I was 100% privately funded. I've been 100% privately funded since day one when I started my business. But I just hadn't thought of it like that. You know what I'm saying? And I just started thinking, I was like, he is right. I have to learn how to raise money. And so essentially from that moment on, it was all about structuring my business so that I was a money magnet, right? And I literally say that to myself all the time. I'm a money magnet. Is there anybody in here that's a money magnet or wants to be a money magnet? If you want to be a money magnet, then you should put into the chat, "I'm a money magnet." Right. And it's so funny because I was actually teaching for like another coaching program at one time. And they just I went on and I was like talking about what I do. And I was just like, kind of just telling everybody what I do was my story. Like he wanted me to come on and just kind of tell my story to this group of, it was like 400 people. And so I came and I told my story. And then afterwards he was like, Stacy, he's like, do you realize that you're a money magnet? And I was just like, no, I didn't realize that, And then after that, I just, in my mind, it just became this mantra for me. I'm a money magnet and I'm a fundraiser, and I'm going to raise all the money that I need in order to do all the deals that I need to do. Right. And that was literally 10 years ago when that happened. And I have done hundreds of transactions since then, and they have all been privately funded. Okay. So I think that what you should be doing is really kind of looking at and teaching yourself, especially if you want to get into real estate investing, if you've done no deals at all, or if you want to get into self-storage investing, your homework is to go and search how to raise money and truly educate yourself on how to become a fundraiser. Okay. Because if you can learn how to raise money, albeit from a partner, from a bank, a local bank, SBA, a private lender, however you want to do it. If you can learn how to raise money, then you will be so successful in this industry and in any of the real estate industries, whichever one you want to get into. Okay. So that is on the creative deal structuring side. Learn how to be good at creative deal structuring. Learn how to think outside the box. Learn how to structure deals so that you don't have to bring any money to the table or very little money to the table. And now is the time to do that. Okay, now especially is the time to do it, because guess what? Over the next couple of years, there's going to be a lot of really badass deals coming your way if you truly want to get into this business, right? Right now we're at the peak and we're going down, right? And it's going to get better over the next couple of years. And you guys should feel blessed right now that, you're listening to this. You should say, this is a sign. I'm going to get out there and I'm going to go look for some money, right? Because I'm a money magnet. Essentially, that's what I want to do. And so that's one side. All right. So if you want to get into mismanaged facilities, right? If you want to get into mismanaged facilities and double the value of those facilities, just like my students are, you have to learn how to raise money. Okay. And it's not difficult. It's not difficult. If I can do it, anybody can do it, honestly, right? That is on the mismanaged side. Okay. On the income producing side, or on the development and conversion side, okay, then you need to, let's start first with the income producing side. Going to a bank and getting a loan, right? If you find an income producing property, or if you find an income producing property that is, any amount of money at all, okay, then what you need to do is you need to go to first your local bank, a regional bank, wherever that facility is located, some bank in the area, right? Usually local banks are the best banks for this, and see what they can offer you, because local banks love storage facilities, just as long as you can put 20% down. That's the thing with an income producing property, is that you have to put 20% down in order to get a loan. Okay. So if you don't have that 20%, where do you get it from? All right. Where do you get the 20% from? You got to partner with somebody. I have a student in my mastermind that he also found, he found a storage facility here in Georgia, actually. He's one of the ones in Georgia. And he did not have any money as well too. So he just essentially found somebody to lend the money to him, lend the money. They partner on the deal. It was I think it was like $550,000, this thing. And they partnered on the down payment and got a bank loan for the rest. And they both kind of manage that together. But actually the owner's not really he's like more silent partner. And then the student kind of manages everything. But so if you don't have any money, that is what you're going to do, right? And then, or you can utilize SBA. SBA loves storage facility and has some of the best rates, best deals right now out there. And we have also in our coaching program several lenders that come and speak to everybody on a regular basis on all the different changing rules and regulations that, it's the government, like every 6 months they're changing stuff, right? And so they come in and they just kind of tell us like what's going on and stuff like that. So you want to just be on the uppity up with somebody that's lending like SBA loan, so that you can kind of keep an eye on that as well too. But so SBA for income producing properties, local banks, or SBA loans. Okay. And then if you want to get into development and conversions, right? So these are bigger facilities, right? So this is where you go out and you buy a building, or you partner with the owner and then you have the building and then you borrow money to do the conversions. This is where you're doing like syndication, or you're raising money on huge big projects. Like, so you're raising capital is what you're doing, unless you have a couple $1 million, right? But that's really syndication, or crowdfunding. Right. So, we can go syndicate a huge deal, or we can crowdfund, a deal, so crowdfunding essentially means like a lot of people putting money into a pot. Right. And then we just go out and we can spend that money on whatever we want. Usually we leverage the money, right, with the loan as well too. And then syndication is like per project, right? So you say, okay, now I have this $4 million project. Let me go out and raise this money, kind of a thing. And that's how we do that as well too. And that's the syndication part. So that is how you would do developing and conversions. And that's not difficult as well too. It's just, it's just a learning curve. I mean, I have I have a good colleague in the area that actually just was part of one of the virtual summits that I just did. They had never done any deals ever in their entire life, never a deal. And their very first deal was like a huge deal that they had to raise like $6 million. Their very first one that they ever did. They partnered with somebody that knew how to do it. That person showed them how to do it. They split the profits and everything, 50-50. And now after that, they know how to syndicate. So now they're like on the third or fourth syndication. But their very first deal, they had no idea. So what they did is partnered with somebody that knew how to syndicate, learned how to do it, and then went off, and now they can do their own deals themselves. That's totally possible. Totally possible. Okay. And then of course you have land. Land is the last way to invest in self-storage outside of wholesaling and lending, right? So there's 6 different ways. Land, all right. Land is also first of all, SBA loves land. If you want loves land plus land plus new construction is what I'm talking about. SBA will lend on new construction. And then also local banks will lend on new construction, or you can partner. Like we're doing a new build right now, working on that, and we're just partnering with somebody and just getting the money that way, and you can partner. All right. So you have mismanaged facilities where you have to be creative and learn how to raise money. You have income producing and new construction, which is really kind of local banks and SBA. You've got developing and conversions with it, which is syndicating or crowdfunding, really learning, getting out there and raising money. Okay. And that's basically how you raise money for storage facilities. All right. That's how you get out there and raise money.